What if I told you your IQ is not fixed? Not at 18, not at 25, not even at 50. And what if I told you that the people you think were born geniuses, well, they weren't. For decades, we were all taught that intelligence is genetic, something you're born with, something you're stuck with. But the greatest minds in history tell a very, very different story. Albert Einstein was considered slow as a child. His teachers actually thought he lacked intelligence. Charles Darwin was just an average student who absolutely hated memorization. And Thomas Edison, he was expelled from school and called unteachable. Yet, these people didn't just become smart, they completely reshaped how humanity thinks. So, what changed? It wasn't their genes, it wasn't their schools, and it certainly wasn't luck. Their habits changed how their brains worked. And today, I'm going to show you the exact habits that research now proves can increase intelligence, the same habits the greatest minds used long before. Neuroscience could even explain why. Most people think intelligence grows by consuming more videos, more podcasts, more and more information. But neuroscience shows something that might feel a little uncomfortable. Your brain actually becomes smarter when it's forced to think without any input. This activates what's called the default mode network, the very system behind insight, abstraction, long-term reasoning, and creativity. Think about it. Einstein didn't always sit and calculate, he imagined. He asked himself, what happens if I chase a beam of light? Or what happens if gravity actually bends space? He would walk alone for hours. No books, no notes, just thinking. Modern studies show that people who regularly engage in this kind of undistracted thinking score higher in problem solving, strategic reasoning, and creative intelligence. So here's your first smart habit. Take daily thinking walks. No phone, no music, no input whatsoever. At first, it's going to feel boring. Then, it might feel uncomfortable. But then, it becomes insightful. That feeling of discomfort, that's your intelligence growing. Next, highly intelligent people don't rush to find the answers. They actually delay getting help. Psychologists call this productive struggle. Your brain literally strengthens when it tries, fails, adjusts its approach, and then tries again. Benjamin Franklin trained himself this way. He would read an essay, put it away, and then try to rewrite it completely from memory. Only after he had struggled with it would he compare his version to the original. This forced his brain to retrieve information, reorganize it, and refine his understanding. Brain scans show that this kind of struggle activates much deeper learning circuits than just passively getting an explanation ever could. That's why getting an instant solution feels good in the moment, but then vanishes from your memory. So, here's your second smart habit. Before you ask for help, or before you look up the answer, write down your best attempt, even if you know it's wrong. Struggle is not a sign of low intelligence. It's the very mechanism that builds it. Now, let's talk about writing. Most people write to store information. Smart people write to clarify their thinking. Leonardo da Vinci didn't write neat, organized essays. He wrote questions. He drew diagrams. He jotted down fragments, and even contradictions. His famous notebooks weren't organized at all. They were alive. Writing forces your brain to slow down, spot the gaps in your knowledge, and turn vague ideas into precise ones. Research from Princeton and UCLA shows that writing by hand improves conceptual understanding far more than typing or just reading. Why? Because writing is thinking made visible. This leads to your third smart habit. Keep a daily thinking journal. But don't just write, what did I do today? Ask yourself deeper questions. What do I actually understand about this topic? What confused me today? What idea feels unfinished? Intelligence grows where thoughts are examined, not just collected. High IQ thinkers don't just know a lot of facts. They understand systems. Charlie Munger, the brilliant investor, called this building a latticework of mental models. Physics teaches you about cause and effect. Biology teaches you about adaptation. Psychology teaches you about cognitive bias. And economics teaches you about incentives. When your brain learns across different domains, it becomes incredibly flexible. This is called transfer intelligence, the ability to apply ideas you've learned in completely new situations. That's why so many polymaths dominated history. Aristotle, Leonardo da Vinci, Goethe. They were masters of multiple fields. Modern research confirms that cross-domain learners show higher fluid intelligence, which is the ability to reason in novel situations. So, your fourth smart habit is this. Every week, learn one core concept from a field completely outside your own. You don't have to go deep, just learn it conceptually. Your brain gets smarter when different ideas start connecting with each other. Let's talk about memory. Memory isn't separate from intelligence. It's foundational to it. Nikola Tesla could visualize entire machines, rotate them in his mind, and even test them mentally before he ever built a single physical part. Ancient scholars trained their memory deliberately because they knew something crucial. A sharper memory creates faster, clearer thinking. Techniques like active recall, spaced repetition, and visualization don't just store information. They fundamentally reorganize your brain. MRI studies show that individuals trained in memory techniques develop denser, more efficient neural connections. Here's your fifth smart habit. Always recall before you review. Before you open your notes, try to explain the ideas out loud without them. Try to teach what you just learned to someone else, or even to an empty room. Memory is not a talent. It's a trainable skill, like a muscle. Finally, smart people don't think all day long. They think when their brain is at its strongest. Charles Darwin, for example, only worked for about 4 to 5 focused hours per day. The rest of his time was spent walking, resting, and reflecting. Chronic stress, poor sleep, and constant stimulation all damage your executive function, which is one of the core components of your IQ. Your brain doesn't upgrade during the hustle. It upgrades during recovery. So, the last smart habit is the simplest, but maybe the most important. Sleep deeply, move your body daily, get some sunlight, and allow yourself to be bored. Boredom is not a weakness, it's cognitive recovery. Here's the real truth. IQ doesn't increase through quick hacks. It increases through consistent habits. The smartest people in history didn't chase intelligence. They built systems in their lives that allowed intelligence to grow naturally. So, if you want to think clearer, learn faster, and build a genuinely stronger mind, start with your habits, not just with more information. And if this video changed how you think about intelligence, please share it with someone who still believes that IQ is fixed. And don't forget to subscribe for more science-based thinking, learning, and mental growth. Thanks for watching.